Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Chris.
And my name is Ian, and we are the Two Dudes One Up Gaming Podcast.
All right. So how you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Sitting here in my dragon onesie,
I see.
drinking some whiskey and having a glass of water on the side.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, how are you doing this evening, Chris?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great, and we'll talk about why later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But let's get started. So we have a couple of games coming up. It was a really light week. There's not a lot happening.
Yeah.
So the first thing is today, The Forest came out of early access. It's out in the world now. So I think it's about $20, and it's the idea is that your plane crashes and you need to survive. And I think there's like some monsters, and it's a first-person perspective, and it is co-op. So
Okay.
it comes highly recommended. I believe you said it was on your wish list for a while.
Yes, it is, and it's pretty much your standard, survival game that's been ever so popular
Yeah.
in the last couple. Like, what was the game that you were playing that's very similar when you're in the Arctic, the frozen tundra in Canada or whatever it is?
Oh, The Long Dark. Yeah.
The Long Dark. Yeah, it's very much along the similar to like the Long Dark and those kind of games. So this has been on my wish list for a while. It was in beta for a very, very early access for a very long time on Steam.
Yeah.
Glad to see it finally get past that early access stage that a lot of places don't get the opportunity to go to.
Good.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm probably gonna pick it up. I think you just purchased it not too
I
long
did.
ago.
Yeah. I think we have some plans for sometime soon.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much like that's like one out of the three like quote unquote big releases this week.
Yeah. Air quotes around big.
Yeah, big. Yeah, big.
They're
air
very
quotes.
big air quotes.
Yeah, because I mean, we go from April 30th, which is today, which is The Forest is released today, to May 4th, which I think is Friday. For the Nintendo Switch, because everyone knows I'm the big Switch fanboy. Donkey
It's a
Kong
good
Country.
system.
It's a great system. It's the best system. It's the only system. Nintendo forever. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is finally getting the Switch port that it's always wanted. It was released on the Wii U back in 2014.
Okay, I was wondering. I thought I heard the name before somewhere.
Yeah, it's not a new game. It's not a new game, but it is a fun game, and I can only imagine how much better it will be when you can take it on the road. So,
As with all things.
yes.
And then
I still have not bought any of the Labo stuff yet. It is on my list. I have a $200 Amazon gift card, so I think most of it's going to go towards that because it took me a hot minute to figure out what I wanted to do with it.
fair enough.
But after that, on the 5th, which is Saturday, there is a Star Trek card game that's been in early access for a while. Star Trek Adversaries that's finally going to get out of, I think, beta. It still has updates that's going to happen to it, but I think for the most part they're just saying, "Hey, this is what we got, and we're going to release this to everybody."
So I saw that you had listed this on the list of games that were coming up, and I am a huge Trekkie. I love Star Trek so much. Don't talk to me about Discovery. So I went and I read through the article about this game, went to its website and everything, and I was reading about it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's like a card game, and I guess they have some 3D rendering that's like starships doing battle, but it's all just based on your card play. And I was like, well, it's a TCG, and I feel like this game is going to carry forward the long-standing tradition of Star Trek games, which is to be not terrible, but not great, right? Like, there hasn't been a really good Star Trek game since, I want to say, Elite Force 2, and that was made by Activision, and there were really, there hasn't been a good Star Trek game since then, and every good Star Trek game that I can remember was made by Activision. Elite Force 1 and 2 and Star Trek Armada 1 and 2 were great. After that, it's all just been very mediocre. But I was reading through the article, looking at screenshots, and I came across this, which I thought was very interesting, and it made me cock my eyebrow because what exactly is going on here?
I mean, that's the Starship Enterprise.
Of course, of course, Starship Enterprise. Where'd it go? Here it is. Yeah, there's Starship Enterprise, of course, sure. But I'm talking about this. I don't know what's going on here. This is not Spock. What this is a changeling from Star Trek: The Original series, which I suppose could be a mechanic, but I feel like if you were gonna try to, sell your game based on memorable characters, this is not the way.
Yeah, you should probably have that character.
This is not the way.
That graphic available, ready for you. I think early access was getting like 6 out of 10 reviews. So average game. A little bit better.
Card game.
A little bit better than average, but will it be a big success? Probably not. Besides Hearthstone, has there been any other TCGs that have really been greatly successful?
Gwent surprisingly got pretty big. It started, really? It started off really fast, and then it got slow because people kind of got bored with it, and then it has slowly picked up steam. I've seen Gwent featured on the front page of Twitch. I guess it
really,
I guess it picked up. I don't know. I haven't played it since the first week it came out.
Well, to be fair, I do know that Matthew Mercer and Mercer Ray did a Gwent stream. So that's probably why.
Yeah. You know what it was probably about? Because Geek and Sundry got permission to use the music from the Witcher series on Critical Role, and I bet that was part of the package deal.
That was part of the package, I think.
I bet that's what it was.
I do know that they're on GOG. What does GOG stand for again?
Good Old Games.
Good Old Games. Yeah, on goodoldgames.com, they do offer, I think right now, the original Witcher is free. And
please,
if you
play this game. Play that game. You will love it.
You'll get a free Gwent keg card, which is a very basic card, but they're trying to encourage people to cross-platform and play the different games and stuff.
Yeah.
So, that'll be, good for them. Gwent, I played a little bit of Gwent. Wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But that's really about it this week for games that are coming out. It's a pretty slow week for game releases. Since God of War was last week, and there's a couple of bigger releases next week. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
It's true. Speaking of God of War, I don't own a PlayStation 4, but I do own a PlayStation 3. And so I have picked up God of War HD. Which is the HD remake of the original God of War.
The remaster.
Yeah. And I've been playing through that, and I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it. I first actually played it on the PS2 a long time ago, and I didn't get far. I played maybe for 10 minutes. It's one of those few games that back in the day it didn't get my 40-minute treatment. For those of you who don't know, I have a rule. I play every game for 40 minutes, and after 40 minutes, if I don't like it, I don't feel guilty about putting it down. I feel like 40 minutes is more than enough time. But it's just one of those games that never, I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't even know the reason why. It didn't get 40 minutes. So I picked it up because a friend of mine, Mike, was like, "Oh yeah, this game is fantastic. You should definitely play it." And I was like, "All right, sure." So it was a couple bucks on PS3, and I picked it up, and I've been really loving it. I'm getting pretty far, so it's been really good. Been playing that recently. What have you been playing?
Cool. I've been working on the Legend of Zelda Link to the Past randomizer. Again, for people who don't know, the randomizer it's literally the original copy of Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, but all of the items have moved chests. So you don't know what items you're going to get. You may get a sword right out of the gate. You may not. You may get the hook shot right out of the gate. You may, and you kind of, it forces you to replay the game in a different light and kind of experience things differently every time you play it. It's big in the speedrun community right now, and I'm almost to the point where I can really start focusing on speedruns.
Nice.
I think the first completion that I've made, it took me about 5-6 hours to get through it.
All right.
I'm down to about 2.5 right now, and serious speedruns are really about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Right. So I'm getting there. It comes down to being able to. There's a lot of stuff out there that help keep track of what chests you've looked at and where on the map you've been to. So being able to just analyze that and be like, okay, I've been here and here. Now I have to go here. Getting the experience necessary to make that happen has really stepped up my play and kind of cut my time down a lot.
Nice. Okay.
But that's been. I mean, my work life has been super busy in the last 3 weeks or so. So last 3-4 weeks or so. So I haven't really had that much time to game. So I'm actually slammed. I'm kind of impressed that I've even had the opportunity to play as much as I have. So But other than that, like you said, you played God of War. I know Tarkov had the big update last week. Did you get back into that at all?
Escape from Tarkov got the 0.8 update, and it's been hot patched, I think, twice since then. Yeah, I played a lot of Tarkov this past week. I think the entire weekend I just played Tarkov. Like Friday, Saturday, and then like part of Sunday. It was just like nothing but that. And it's important to know that I am terrible at competitive first-person shooters. Okay, I am really bad at them. And I am also extremely competitive. And these things do not work together very well. So on Sunday afternoon at like, I don't know, 3 or 4, I got super salty and I just got pissed and uninstalled it. And then I reinstalled it later that night. And I haven't played it yet, but I'm sure I will sometime soon.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. So a friend of mine a buddy of mine was playing Factorio because another update for that recently came out. And that included some stuff like, I think it had like artillery and it had, I don't remember what else it had, but there were a few things that happened to it.
Some updates?
Yeah,
okay.
Some updates to Factorio. Excuse me. And so he had a factory going, and I told him like I didn't really want to get into Factorio right now because it like that game is a commitment. Like you must set aside about 50 to 60 hours to successfully complete a Factorio game, even when you're on co-op. So I told him I didn't really want to get into it, but on Sunday afternoon after I uninstalled Tarkov, he was playing Factorio, and I was like, hey man, let me jump into your factory. I'll go hunt the bugs, right? Because if you don't know, in Factorio, there's like bugs that get angry about your pollution. So I hopped in a tank and drove around for 4 hours killing bugs around the perimeter of his pollution, which was actually quite good fun. World of Tanks wishes it was that great. And then finally,
good.
Go ahead. What?
Do you want to get into that now, or do you want to move into news first?
I mean, I think it's a great segue into news.
All right, fair enough.
Sure. Yeah. So speaking of co-op play, as I was preparing for the podcast, I have a habit. Okay, I've been waiting for Stardew Valley multiplayer to come out forever. Everybody knows this. Like every other day, I get on Twitter and I check to see concerned ape. It hasn't happened yet. And the last tweet is always like, about a month. And it was April 10th, and I was like, all right, well, we just gotta keep waiting. Soon, but we gotta keep waiting, right? So today I was getting ready for the podcast. I looked up the forest on Steam and. I was, looking at that page, and then at the same time, I was pulling up Concerned Ape's Twitter because, like, well, we got to check to see if, Stardew Valley multiplayer is up, and holy fuck, it's out, guys. So it came out today. It's on Steam right now. If you have GOG, you'll be able to get it later.
So for people who don't know, Stardew Valley is a farming simulator that has blown up. It's so much more than just a farming simulator, but it has blown up. It was a team. It was one person,
one guy, a single guy. Concerned Ape made it. Yeah, I'll link his Twitter here in chat.
And the game has been very successful. It's been out for at least a year at this point, and. He always promised that he was going to bring multiplayer to this game, and
since before launch, he said this is a thing that's going to happen. It's down the road, but we're working on it. Or he's working on it. I'm working on it. It's kind of thing.
And a year later now,
here it is.
It's here. It's live. It's a beta. There's bugs.
It is a beta. It is in beta.
There's going to be some issues.
So clear. I have to make this right now. He posted up a blog post about like how to get into it. You have to type in a password on Steam to even get access to the beta channel. Like inside of like the first paragraph of his blog post, he's like, this is a beta, you will see bugs, please report them at this location, the stable version is coming soon, we hope, right? So it is now playable by the public, but please be aware that there are bugs. I was actually playing through it with my buddy earlier, and I actually found 6 bugs. So we were only playing for like 3 hours, 3.5, maybe like 2.5, maybe 3 hours. Yeah, and I found six bugs. And some of them are a bit more glaring than others. But I mean, I'll list them off for you. They're like, some of them aren't that big, and some of them are more like, huh. So one of them is that you can sometimes hear other players when they're on other screens. So if your buddy is like 3 screens above you or whatever, and you're down here, and he's cutting grass and you're fishing, you can sometimes hear him just down the grass, Um, Cutscenes will occasionally pull a player out of where they are to where you are. So, like, if I trigger a cutscene, my buddy was in the mines, and I triggered the cutscene for the community center. It pulled him out of the mines and put him at the community center. So,
Oh wow, okay.
yeah, so
That's
that
a
was
big one.
yeah, that one was a bit more jarring. I mean, nothing broke, right? But
Right.
it just transported him. So that was something to look at. This one, I think I've noticed this before, but I know I wrote it down just because I thought it was interesting. Changing the color of your eyes in the character creator changes the color of the outline of your character. Which I was like, this is a weird one, right? Like, it doesn't actually make the game look any really worse, but it was interesting, you know. Another one was that occasionally, if you're in the mine and you swing your sword at empty air, you get fiber. It's like you're cutting grass, except that there's nothing there, but you get fiber. So that was weird. This one, this is, of course, I would find this one. If you're standing in front of a tree and you're casting a fishing line, when you cast the line, the lure will vanish behind the leaves of the tree behind you before it goes forward into the water, which was interesting. And then the last one is the biggest bug that we found that's super annoying and needs to be fixed before this goes stable. I'll just say what I actually wrote down because I tried to make it very clear. When another player is in the mine, you can hear the flies buzzing around them. The sound effect persists even after the bugs have been defeated. Leaving the current map ends the sound effect. So if he's in the mines and I'm out fishing and a bug flies at him, that bzzz, like, stays
forever.
there until he kills the bug and I go to another map to get rid of it. Right. So
Okay.
be aware that this game has bugs right now. Okay, it's in beta. It plays wonderfully, but there are bugs. So just look out for it. Right. Just be aware.
Be patient about it. Report them as you find them.
Please report bugs.
This is going to end up making a better multiplayer experience for everyone in the long run.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And you could make that whole argument that, like, well, every bug report delays the stable release, but every bug you don't report is another bug that's in the stable release. Like, report them, please. I mean, this guy, he wants to make a good game. That's why it took him another 2 years to get this out. Like, he was working really hard on it. And it's a free update. You guys aren't paying anything for it. Like, this guy loves his community, so please report bugs, help him out.
Okay. No, for sure. Absolutely. 100%. Along the lines of big updates, the world's biggest game right now, Fortnite Season 4 starts tomorrow. They have confirmed the Cataclysm is coming. To be fair, what they've done, I don't know if you're familiar with what they've been doing in the last week or so. They have been doing updates throughout, and they have introduced. So, like, the big Cataclysm update is supposed to be this giant meteor that you were able to see from space, and it's going to come down and hit somewhere on the Fortnite map and probably destroy a whole bunch of stuff, or there's gonna be some kind of massive event tomorrow revolving around this giant meteor. But in the last week, they have done the meteorites around it have all been hitting the map and destroying the things that you build. So it'll start at the beginning of the game.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Where everyone's on the map, it's not there's not a lot of meteor action. But by the time you get where the circle starts to get really, really small, it's pretty much just a constant barrage of meteors hitting the ground.
That's really interesting.
Just destroying all of your building. So it's been awesome. It's been very exciting. A lot of this. For some reason, I've fallen in love with with Australian streamers for Fortnite. I love. There's 3 out there that I watch. There's Muselk, Mr. Muselk. There's Creator, and there's Loserfruit. They all team up together. For some reason, I thoroughly enjoy their content, and they've been really exploring the whole meteor thing the last couple of days. So that's been kind of cool, and just trying to create memes out of the meteors, trying to win games with the meteors. And all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Who knows what'll happen tomorrow? There's going to be an update. I think the tweet even said the Cataclysm is coming. So who knows?
Okay.
Season 4 starts tomorrow.
Yeah, let's let me pull up the tweet.
Oh, no, the tweet actually says brace for impact. So I mean, like, if that's not saying that the meteor is going to hit, the meteor is going to hit.
So brace for impact.
So yeah, so I'm excited to see all the new skins and everything. Like, it's the largest community out there right now. So and everyone seems to be loving this game. So it's I'm excited to see what they decide to do with the next season. I think it's going to be like superheroes, is from what I understand. But who knows? Yeah. And that's yeah. So that's pretty much about it for Fortnite news.
So if you hang around Twitch at all, you find out about things that happen around Twitch. And one of the things that went down recently is you may have heard of a Halo Online mod called El Dorito that lets people play Halo on their computer, which is pretty cool, right? I played this back, I don't know, a year ago or something like that, when it was kind of shaky, but it was recently released, and so some people started playing it on Twitch, and Microsoft came down and DMCA'd the hell out of them. So you can't play El Dorito on Twitch anymore. In fact, those people got 24-hour bans from Twitch.
Banned, yeah.
So, and those have all expired now. They're all back, playing stuff on Twitch. But it was really interesting that that went down. And I think I believe it was an interview with one of the representatives from Microsoft about this, and he said something along the lines that they looked forward to what they could potentially bring to Halo players on the computer in the not too distant future. So it was something like, if you read into it a little bit, it was like there might be something happening with Halo on the PC soon, right? Which, if they were to release the original Halo trilogy on PC, I would love that. And I grant you that Halo 1 is already on PC and has been forever.
Right.
I think it was out in like 2003 or something. And Halo 2 is also on PC, but only playable on Vista. And Halo 3 has never hit PC. But if they were to release just a remastered version of the original Halo trilogy, I would love that. I would play the shit out of that. That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. It'd be cool to do.
Yeah,
I'm totally down for it. Especially if they support, like, the Halo 2 online community was such a big thing. Like, if they brought
I love that game
back,
so much. Yeah,
yeah,
dude, the sword flings.
It'd be incredible. It'd be absolutely incredible. I think online gaming would, PC online gaming would love it. And that would be super, super cool. So hopefully they've only hinted at it, but hopefully that comes into fruition in the next year or so.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love that.
But speaking about older games that may or may not be released, Square Enix is doing a massive sale for all of their Final Fantasy games, literally all of their Final Fantasy games, at least 50% off. Mm-hmm. So
where?
Yeah, it's
where?
On the Square Enix store.
Oh, it's on the Square Enix store. Oh, because I was gonna pick up Final Fantasy 12, and I was like on Steam, and it was like, this is still $50. I'm not paying $50 for this, but if it's
no, it's all on the store. I believe the only ones that are, I mean, everything's at pretty much 50% off, but I think like the only games that really aren't under $10 at this point are things like the World of Final Fantasy, and I think that's really about it.
Looks like 15 is still $50.
Oh, maybe Final Fantasy 15, but
yeah, I'm trying to find Final Fantasy 12.
I will find. I hit the wrong button there.
The city is like $180.
Yeah. But Final Fantasy 3 is $7.99. Final Fantasy 4 is $7.99. 5 is $7.99. 6 is $7.99. 7 is $5.99. Which, if you've never played 7, play Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, 7 is great.
8 is going for $5.99. 9, which 9's incredible, but 9's going for $10.49. So that's a little bit over. Final Fantasy 10 and X2, 10.2. They're going for 15.
Actually, Final
13.
Fantasy 10 is my favorite Final Fantasy.
It's a great one. It's to be fair, but unfortunately,
12
you
is
can't
still
just
50
buy
bucks
10.
as well. Nah.
Oh, is 12 still 50?
Yeah. Oh well.
All right. But
You can't win
like
them all.
you can't win them all. But if you're a younger gamer who didn't grow up with the Final Fantasy series and you haven't played anything pre-8 or pre-9,
Yeah. Get
is your
into
time,
Final
man.
Fantasy, man. Like
Get in on it.
there is a reason that
These
Final Fantasy is such a well-established and beloved
yeah.
series of games. There was not a bad Final Fantasy game until like 12, and that's debatable.
The original Final Fantasy on Nintendo is the reason I'm a gamer today. That was the first game I honestly fell completely in love with, and like from 1 to Final Fantasy 2 that was only released in Japan, and then to Final Fantasy 3, like 3, 4, 5, 6 is incredible. They're all incredible games.
They're
They all have
magnificent stories. Yeah, they're so good.
and they hold up well.
Oh yeah,
They hold up very well.
Oh,
So I mean, like, these are games that are 20, 30 years old at this point. I think the original Final Fantasy came out in like 89, I want to say, or 90.
I want to say 86,
So I mean, like,
maybe.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just pulling numbers.
We have
off
the
top of my
internet.
head. Yeah. We'll both Google this.
Final Fantasy 1
At this
release
point.
date 87.
87.
In Japan.
Yeah. So that game.
Okay.
The game's 30 years old today. This year. You know, like, and it's still a fantastic video game. So
It's making me feel old.
Hey, I mean, I know I'm an older gamer compared to a lot of people that watch the streams and stuff. So, you know, these are the games of my youth that have influenced the games that you guys are playing today. So
For sure.
yeah, you know, so get after it.
Some really good
Give
stuff
these
out there.
games a run. They may seem a little bit more on the basic side for you guys, but you know what? At the point that the storytelling is storytelling, and it's always going to be fantastic.
Amen.
So
Yeah.
speaking about older games, I'm going to bring up Fallout 3,
This one's not as old.
which not
10
as
years.
old as
10
Final
years.
Fantasy, still 10 years old. Probably my favorite Fallout,
Yeah.
personally. Yeah.
Okay.
I played Fallout 3 for hours. Did not care for New Vegas. Did not really care for 4. Yeah.
I can
I
understand
feel like
4.
they just didn't. Well, I mean, maybe New Vegas was pretty good.
I like New
But I
Vegas
feel like
better
you
than 3, honestly.
Really? Well, I feel like 3. So Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 were completely different games compared to 3.
Yes,
I
totally
think that
different.
3
Yeah.
3 flipped the script, and I fell in love with it. Now, New Vegas refined it, but I don't think it brought anything new to the table other than refining the gameplay. Which is fair.
Yeah, I honestly think that just the refined gameplay is why I like New Vegas more than 3. I am by no means trying to diminish 3's quality. I love 3.
No, I mean 3 flipped the script of what the Fallout
You
series
wake
was.
up, you literally are born into the arms of Liam Neeson, right? Like,
Yeah.
but it's, you know, I don't know, just it is what it is. Just opinion.
But so this game's 10 years old, and there has been a mod now. They have gone into the game. They have figured out all of the stuff that has been cut from the game, and they have re-added it into Fallout 3.
Yeah.
So there is a thing out there called Nexus. I don't know if you're familiar with PC gaming and the modding community. It's kind of like the hub for most mods, most official and organized mods.
I have a lifetime subscription to Nexus Mod. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few people who shelled out for that long ago too. I must have gotten that in like 2009, maybe 2008, maybe, I don't know, a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Nexus got big when World of Warcraft got real big.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean that's when I first heard about Nexus. And
yeah, because I think Curse Client integrated with it at some point.
Yeah, no, for sure, it did. It absolutely did. But anyway, the mod's called Simply Uncut. You can find it on Nexus. It will add all that old stuff into the game, all the stuff that was cut back into the game, so you can get pink power armor. A couple of them were named items. People
with a big heart right in the middle.
Yeah. People who were on Three Dog Night Radio.
Three Dog! Oh!
You could actually see them in game now, which is kind of cool. So I mean, for vintage gaming, which is such a weird thing for me to say. I don't know. I think vintage is technically 20 years when it comes to like cars. Like if you're over 20
Is
years,
it?
it's
Okay.
vintage.
So
I'm
this
not
is half
sure.
vintage.
Yeah, we're halfway to vintage gaming with this with 3.
Does
But
that make you
getting
and I vintage humans?
we're vintage humans. Yeah, if we're past 20, if you're past 20, you're a vintage human at this point.
Man,
So enjoy it. Get the plates, and ride it on Sundays.
we're getting close to
Uh,
double vintage, aren't we?
yeah, but going from the older games into the newer stuff. I don't know how much you know about Anthem, the new BioWare game.
That game looks super hype.
I'm super hyped about this
It
game.
looks so cool. I unfortunately feel like I have to wait until it's released before I'm even going to consider picking that up. That's one of those games that I will not risk a pre-order because BioWare has had too many titles consecutively now. So,
Well, Mass Effect has been absolutely incredible.
yeah, I'll say this of Mass Effect. I loved Mass Effect 3. Everyone pisses on the ending, and I get it, okay? I get it. You spend all this time developing these relationships with these characters, influencing the galaxy, building up your, everything that you do, and then it ends in a push A or push B, right? But
Right.
I've always been someone who judges games based on my average experience throughout the game instead of a single point in it. And while a bad ending of the story does sour the plate a little bit, my average experience during Mass Effect 3 is I was having a blast. Like, I saved the Quarians, I got them to align with the Geth, I managed to defeat 35 Reapers or something, I got 100% of the army to get up to fight the Reapers. I saved the bug species where I did all this cool stuff. I had a great time playing Mass Effect 3. And what I'm getting at with kind of the experience is I'm looking really more at Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is a BioWare game. I'm looking at Mass Effect Andromeda, which is a BioWare game, and I understand that they had their B team on Andromeda, and
Right.
I don't know too much about why SW Tour kind of went into the average free-to-play, kind of not, it didn't get big like you would think it would. Like, the only players who are doing SW Tour right now are the ones who were playing Galaxies. That's it, right?
Right.
But, so anyway, that stuff just kind of leads me to be very hesitant to jump into another BioWare purchase. Now, I believe BioWare can pull it off, but I have to see. It's been too long. But we do have the trailer from last year's E3 for Anthem. So let me go ahead and pull that up, and we'll get that sucker a little play. How's that sound?
The wall. It's our armor. It protects us from what lies beyond. But out there, you either live with the choices you make, or die trying to change them. The story doesn't end here. It's just the beginning.
So that's the little Anthem kind of teaser there.
Yeah.
If you'd seen the whole E3 video, there I'm sure much of it was kind of pre-rendered, but it was a lot of supposed to be very easy to connect with your friends and bring them into your game, and they're your suit, you could fly around and stuff. It looked really cool. It looked really, really cool.
Yeah, and the reason we're bringing this up is that they're working really, really hard right now on getting the demo to be available to play at E3, which is only a month and a half away. We're talking 6 weeks here because it's in early July, I believe E3 is.
Yeah.
So there should be a playable version of the game.
Hopefully.
It should play. I think. I think if if this is news right now, I think it will be ready to go.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I
they
feel
wouldn't
like
have said
if
anything.
nothing else, EA will tell them you must come up with something. So
Right.
yeah.
So I'm interested to see how it goes. It's probably going to play very similar to Destiny. I hope that they have learned the lessons from Destiny, which the original one was. I mean, to find the words, it's very difficult, but it's a franchise that deserved so much more that just never achieved what they truly wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that had to do with last minute changes. So hopefully, with Anthem getting a full 2-year, 3-year develop or 2+ year development time for just the demo itself, hopefully they learn from Destiny's mistakes and they release a product that is enjoyable and builds a great community. I think that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I have high hopes. I don't say I have high hopes. I have realistic hopes, but I hope it ends up. I hope they fix Destiny's mistakes.
Yeah, I would like to see BioWare come out strong. It's been too long since BioWare had a hit, and I think the last time BioWare had like a big hit was maybe Mass Effect 3, maybe Dragon Age Origins, something like that. But like,
which both of those franchises are such huge franchises. So like, it's not like BioWare is struggling right now.
No,
they're both. They're massive franchises, but yeah, I mean they haven't had a giant release in a while, so I'm hoping they're just putting the time behind Anthem.
Like, to put it in perspective, the BioWare's games, like starting at like Mass Effect 2 and going backward, every BioWare game that was released was hype on the scale of Witcher 3 and then delivered on it, right? Like, they just haven't had one since. And there used to be such this amazing company that did these crazy amazing things and pulled this stuff off. And ever since they were purchased by EA, I think it's just been like they've been fettered down by whatever corporate is there. And I really hope that EA's new management takes a look at the opportunity that they have to just let BioWare work on it. Because it used to be that BioWare just wouldn't release something until I thought it was good, right? Like they wouldn't release it. I think KOTOR, the first one, I want to say it was pushed back like a year and a half or something. Like,
it may have been.
I think they seriously delayed it.
But here's the thing: is that was the time when we were way more patient for games as gamers.
It's true. Yeah,
we're not as patient for games now. Yeah. There's a timetable for release that people what time is it now? We have I could talk for an hour and a half on the topic of just game design and game release dates and the pressure that programmers they feel and how they're treated and just the industry as a whole. I won't go into that today, but hopefully EA has realized what they've made their mistakes on, and they let BioWare do what BioWare does well, which is create a massive scale game.
Yeah, like, it may cost EA a good chunk of money, but EA needs to, like, just kind of realize that, it's going to cost us more than that initial investment, but the state of gaming these days will allow them to make so much more money off of a delivered, finished product.
And a game like Anthem, which will cross over the first-person shooter and RPG category, Destiny was super successful.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to say that they did not generate income off of that game, and they're still making content for it. If it wasn't generating money, they would have, after 2 was released, they would have
stopped.
Yeah. So if they can do what Destiny does, but do it better, it's $1 billion franchise. And there's money at it. A game like this, you have to let them have time.
Amen. And to be like really honest, I wish I could remember a specific instance of this, but I've seen several games over Witcher 3. Okay, Witcher 3 is perfect for this. Witcher 3 was delayed by I want to say it was about 4 months or so, right? They pushed it back because CD Projekt came out and they said, listen, we feel like the game is good to go right now, but there are bugs that we want to fix, there are little issues with it, there are glitches, there are things we don't like, and we're just going to take more time and we're just going to finish it, and we're pushing the release date back because we don't feel like it's ready. And even on Reddit, people were like, you know what? I'm willing to wait because they think they can make this game really good, and I'm willing to wait for a good game instead of getting a rushed game that's buggy and crappy, right?
And they delivered.
They hugely delivered. Yeah. And I hope that somebody in corporate sees that and they look at like how much money that game generated and how the community reacted to the reasoning that the developer gave to delay a project, and that they take that to heart and they follow that. I hope so much that BioWare comes out with another great game.
I'm hoping Anthem is the hit that they need to get back on top.
Yeah,
because they were on top and they dropped down. They've never been irrelevant. They've just dropped down a couple of spots.
Yeah.
No, I mean this could be the game that gets them right back up.
Yeah, BioWare was the developer to beat for like 10 years.
So who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. E3 is only 6 weeks away, 7 weeks away.
Yeah, it's coming up.
They should supposedly have a playable demo at that point. And maybe our opinion will change. Maybe we'll sit here and say this may be the best game literally ever. Who knows?
I hope, right?
But talking about things coming up in the future as well, I have seen some articles that have come out talking about part production for the PlayStation 5. And now, granted, the PlayStation 5 hasn't been like an official thing yet.
Yeah.
But there are companies out there in China. For those who don't know what I do for my living, I deal with China a lot when it comes to LED wall technology and just graphics cards and processing and just overall computer processing information. And in China, they are talking about ramping up production on certain stuff that is based towards the gaming industry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that a PlayStation 5 is coming out this year.
No.
But they are ramping up production for the gaming industry, which means that there's going to be either a massive peripheral that comes out or a new console. And I think with PlayStation, it's about time. So it's probably going to be the 5, in my professional opinion.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
now, granted,
I was looking it up earlier, and I realized that the PlayStation 4 came out in 2014, and I was like, it's been around that long? Like, I didn't realize how long it's been there. So, I mean, yeah, we're actually approaching the point where another console is not beyond reason.
It's not unheard of. It's not unheard of.
Yeah.
Now, 4 years is pretty early for a console when you think about like how long it's been between PlayStation 2 and the 3.
To be
and
really
the 3
fair,
to the 4.
We've been super. I've been really interested to see the state of console gaming evolve in the past 6 or 7 years or so. It used to be that you would come out with a console and then 8 years later you'd have another one, right? And that was it, right? Like the Xbox happened, and then 8 years later the 360 happened, and then like 8 years later the Xbox One happened, right? Like it was just like the console set the bar for what gaming was going to look like for the next decade. And we have seen this huge shift in that now there are like halfway consoles where you get like the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One S, where like they have increased, like they have better hardware in them so that they can make their games look better. And you'll have games now that are only available on the Xbox One S or only playable on the PS4 Pro, right? Where they're cutting out their earlier generation, even though most games are still coming out for that whole thing. And it's fascinating because it's sort of evolving toward the state that PC gaming has always been in, which is PC games always look state-of-the-art, more or less, and you can upgrade one whenever you want, right? But for a long time, the state of gaming was that PC gamers would complain that this console came out 6 years ago. Our games look so much better, but they could look way better if we just abandoned consoles and made stuff for the PC because it can handle way more. But
Right.
with the way that we're doing like every 4 years to a new console now, we're kind of approaching that where like the PS4 Pro is currently the cheapest and fastest way to 4K gaming. Like way cheaper than doing that on a PC. Like crazy cheap. Now you're not going to get the frame rate, you're not going to get all the other benefits that come with playing on a computer, but in terms of just like the technology that's available to you out of a single box, that's pretty impressive that they're just pushing like that. And honestly, I'm really glad to see that happen. We've needed a more competitive market for a long time, so I'm happy to see that come about. And so if the PS5 comes out, you know, even in another 2 years, that's still a hugely accelerated schedule, you know. So
Yeah.
that'll be really good.
Familiar?
And hey, if the PS5 comes out, I'll finally be able to buy a PS4.
Hey, there you go. Are you familiar with the name of Michael Pachter? I'm gonna get really deep into this for a second.
Here's a shovel.
Michael Pachter. He's a gentleman. He was born in, I believe, He was. The reason I know about him is because he shares a birthday with me. To a degree. I mean, close enough to be sharing a birthday.
Okay.
He is, however, way older than me. However, he has his pulse on the video game industry is absolutely incredible. So back into where he got notoriety was back in 2007 when he said that that Madden 07 could sell 1 million units in 5 days, and it fucking did it. As my thing goes in and out. So this gentleman has come out he's had a good pull. He's had the pulse on gaming since gaming's been a thing. Mm-hmm. He's saying that third-party developers already have their hands on PlayStation 5 dev kits, and that we may see the release in 2019, if not earlier.
Okay.
And he's saying that the PS5 will have backwards compatibility.
I could see it, honestly.
So, I mean, do I care about backwards compatibility? No, I don't.
I do. And I think the reason for it is that...
Here's the question. Before we go there, when was the last time you have used a console's backwards compatibility feature?
2 weeks ago.
Okay. Explain to me.
I wanted to play a game on my GameCube, but I don't have my GameCube. So I stuck it in my Wii, and I plugged in the controller to my Wii and my GameCube memory card, and... boom, Resident Evil 4.
Okay, so maybe I'm not in touch with with how big backwards compatibility could be. I've never used it once. I've never used backwards compatibility.
Not even one time.
Not even one time.
Wow. So when I bought my original PlayStation, Let me be more clear about this. So I have a PS3 and a PS2 and a PS1, and I bought them in the order PS2, PS3, PS1. Now, I never owned an original PlayStation when I was growing up. I had the N64, but later in life, I bought one, and it didn't come with a controller. And I was super stoked to realize that the PlayStation 2 controller actually plugged into the PS1 and worked perfectly.
Yes,
and I was like, what? This is fantastic, because I didn't have to go find a PS1 controller for like $30, right? It just worked, which is like this weird forward compatibility, but even backwards compatibility in hardware like that was great, because that saved me so much trouble. And I actually, because I never owned an original PlayStation, I played Metal Gear Solid on my PS2, and it was a PS1 game. So I have personally used backwards compatibility a lot. Even when the 360 came out, I would play Halo and Halo 2 on my 360 all the time. Like, Halo 2 was just constantly going on my 360.
Okay, that's fair. I personally, I've never used it, and I don't know. Maybe I don't revisit games, but you do, and I know you do. So maybe there's a community out there that I'm not familiar with that actually uses it, and I could be wrong. So
sure, and I mean I can see two sides of this. You could even come at the angle for if I make my system backwards compatible, we won't be able to sell an HD remake. Right? There could be a marketing ploy to that. But my other thought on it is this: if you're going to make a new console every 2 to 4 years, that thing had better be backwards compatibility with at least one generation, because I don't want to spend $60 on a game and then have to buy a new console 2 years later and then I can't play it anymore. Like, what the hell? Don't do that to me.
No, absolutely. That makes sense. But we're looking at a point where we're like at 4 years at this point.
Yeah.
And if we see it next year, it'll be 5 years. The other thing Michael Pachter said that it'll probably be less than $500. However, none of this stuff has been confirmed by Sony. So
of course, it's all speculation.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But this gentleman does have a good ear to the ground when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
okay.
So who knows? I just felt like that was super important to talk about.
Saying it,
yeah.
So
man.
Have you? So I know we were talking about this earlier. Tomb Raider.
Yes.
You played the 2013 remake, yeah?
I did. I played the 2013 remake.
Okay. I really enjoyed it. I felt like it...
I did as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, I felt like it kept the heart and soul of Tomb Raider, but completely changed the game. It became much less of an action platformer, and it became an action adventure game with like slight RPG elements and a little tiny twinge of survival in there, right? And I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. And like I grant you that they rebooted kind of everything. None of the storylines have conflicted between before the reboot and after, which is I thought it's been nice. Right. I appreciate that.
They've been smart about it. It's been awesome.
Yeah, they haven't. They've been trying to not piss anybody off and doing a good job. So I really liked 2013. I thought they did a great job, and I also played Rise of the Tomb Raider when it came out on PC. Granted, that one came out like a year after it came out on consoles, but it looked way better and played super smooth. And I haven't actually finished it yet, but I really am enjoying it. It's just been a really fun game to play. It follows the style of, here's some optional tombs, here's this story with like some supernatural elements that are going to get resolved, and it follows that same like classic heart and soul of Tomb Raider, and I've been really enjoying it. And 3 days ago, the next Tomb Raider game was announced, and it's called I already forgot. It's called Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's called Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And we have a trailer, so we're going to throw it up there really fast, and then we'll come back to you, so hang tight.
Peggy 18.
So far. I'm not turning back. After all I've sacrificed, I have to wonder.
What will I become?
So there's that, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it looks like it really. So the trailer has a lot of like jumping over large cliffs and landing on another wall with a pickaxe and stuff, and that's a mechanic that's in the game. And so like everything that she did in that trailer is a mechanic that I've already seen in the existing Tomb Raider games. So I feel like as long as they don't, as long as they just keep to that, as long as they don't try to do anything crazy with it and just tell another story, I think they're good to go. I think they're all set.
Yeah. I mean, the new Tomb Raider series was done by Naughty Dog, correct?
Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics. All right.
Dynamics.
I feel like it had a very Naughty Dog-esque.
It did. Yeah, it felt a little bit like that.
It.
Yeah. It
where they spend the time to film multiple. They do a lot of live action. The camera. Why am I? Help me out here. Where they film
about, like,
the body.
When they actually film the actors doing a thing when they're wearing the body cameras and everything else like that to get perspective and to get their mocap and everything else.
Yes, they do a lot of mocap. They do a lot of mocap when it comes to the new Tomb Raider games. I remember seeing an interview on Conan O'Brien like the other day where the person who actually plays the role of Lara Croft was talking about how she had died a quote unquote she had to die 1,000,000 times on mocap.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and she's an extraordinarily good voice actor. If you played 2013, you know she's really good. And Rise of the Tomb Raider, she's somehow even better. It's pretty incredible, and like the focus on story that they have, I don't know, it's blended really well with the gameplay mechanics. It's probably the epitome of a modern action adventure game. Which is that's a pretty good title to have, like to just be solid all around, like to be a game, even if it's not a perfect game, even if it could be improved, if you have like an 8 all around the board, that's a pretty solid place to have. You can keep making sequels, and I'm gonna keep buying them. Like it's just a good game. So, but yeah. So I thought that was cool.
So yeah, I mean, I'll be interested in I'll probably play it. To be honest, I probably will. I'll get around to it eventually. I know we're getting close to time.
We are.
That we would normally do. Not necessarily. I'm down to extend for another 10 minutes.
Okay, what do you
got? Talk about this. Big news with the Belgium Gambling Commission.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like this is something that we do need to actually talk about.
Okay.
Because this is, in my opinion, this is probably the biggest news when it comes to actual full-on gaming news.
Sure. Yeah.
The Belgium Gambling Commission ruled against loot boxes in Overwatch, FIFA 18, CS:GO, and a few other games, saying that like this is not legal in our country anymore. Like this is gambling, and gambling is for people over this specific age, and you have to say that your game is rated for this or above because of the gambling purposes, where Overwatch was a rated E game for everybody.
Yeah. And now it's got to be like rated M over there.
So. Well, which is it? I mean, it's over there currently. I'm curious to see what they have to do to comply to that regulation, and whether or not that's going to translate across the board or just over there. I know their big thing is the competitive game scene. So how does that affect the Overwatch scene over there? I could see where the concept of the loot box being a gambling thing, where it affects games like FIFA and CS:GO, where these loot boxes will provide items for you that improve gameplay. But in games like Overwatch, where the loot boxes literally do nothing but give you skins and emotes and nothing that affects actual gameplay. You could go in, you could freshly install Overwatch with nothing and create a new account and play the game and still be on par with the top name guys that have all of the skins and all that have unlocked all of the loot boxes, quote unquote.
Sure.
So
I think the argument for gambling specifically in Overwatch, I heard it on Reddit first, which honestly might even just be the source of it. But the thought process was, I want to get the new witch skin for Mercy. How do I do that?
right.
I could win it randomly in a loot box, which is the only way to get it. So, what if I want to just buy loot boxes until I get it? Okay.
Right.
So what if
and that's totally gambling.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You're making it's a scratch off. You're making a purchase. You may win it, you may not.
Right. And some people, if you're like me, with the true story, I have the Witch Mercy skin because they give you a legendary box whenever a new expansion or whatever they are comes out. I happened to pick it up in the first box that I got for free. But some people spent $50, $60, $100, $200 on loot boxes, didn't get it, and didn't even get the enough currency from like trade-in stuff, like when you break down something you already have, to be able to purchase it in the store because it wasn't purchasable in the store.
Right.
They make certain items limited, like to be only available at a certain time, and it used to be that when an item was seasonal like that, it was simply entirely unavailable except by loot boxes, and you could only get them at a certain time of year.
And to be fair, Blizzard has changed their stance on that.
Yes.
And they've realized, like, because to be fair, they had come out of the gate and said they wanted to make things exclusive to people who played at a specific time. And then they did the loot box thing, and then they realized that, like, oh well, it's random. It's not like you could buy it and then you're forever locked out of it after that's done.
Yeah.
They just realized that, like, they messed up in making it that, like, you couldn't purchase it. So they did change their way going forward, and they said, hey, you can win this in a loot box, or you could pay X amount of coins that you win in game.
Right, in-game currency.
But however, I feel like they have now fallen the victim to other companies that have abused the concept of the loot box, where Blizzard does it right and where other companies they do it better. There are still companies out there that say, hey, like, you need to
EA Battlefront 2.
It's pay to win. You know, you have to, if you want the best gear, you need to pay for these boxes that give you a random chance to get the best gear.
Yeah.
You know, and it sucks. And it sucks that a couple of shitty companies ruined it for everyone else. But understand completely Belgium's stance on this.
Yeah, I get it. Gambling is dangerous, it's addictive, and it can cost you your livelihood. So I get it. Like, you make a ruling like that, I totally understand. I'm on Belgium's side on this one. I feel like maybe it is unfortunate Blizzard got lumped in there.
Yes.
Personally, I don't like the concept of loot boxes in general, but that's an opinion thing. And
no, for sure. And it's
later.
And it's the touch. It's one of the touchiest subjects that we can really talk about, because there's so many there's so many different things. What constitutes a loot box? What, you know, like, when is it gambling? When is it not gambling? You know, like, when you're looking for skins, is it gambling for skins? Are you really gambling at that point because you're not getting any kind of competitive advantage? I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting dichotomy that has not been regulated. So unfortunately, everybody that offers a pay for a box with items inside of it now gets lumped inside of this in Belgium, at least.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see if this gets extended out to other countries. I mean, like the Koreas, for example. I mean, that's a market that I don't know if they can ban loot boxes, because that's a huge part of their economy.
Yeah, I don't know.
So who knows? But it was interesting to see Belgium being the first one to take the stance on this, to just full on say it. I'll be interested to see how the USA kind of takes that and rolls with it.
I don't know
Because we do have a harsher stance on gambling than a lot of other places do. To the point that we only allow it in 2 cities or 3 cities, really. Or no, that's a
very limited
statement
places
for me.
very limited.
Yeah, it's a very yes, and we do that in the U.S. We do that because a lot of that generates income for Native Americans, which the history of the U.S. and Native Americans is a very
not good. Not good.
Yeah, turbulent one.
Okay.
So that was kind of our way of saying, like, hey, we'll regulate gambling so you guys can you guys can use that to generate income. But that's ungame. That's not game. I guess technically it's gaming related. But so I'm interested to see how the blocks fall now that Belgium has made this statement.
It definitely is interesting. It's
yeah.
That's news. That's probably the newsiest news we've ever shared on the show.
That's right. Like everything else is like news and entertainment, but this is
like, hey, here's an interesting thing that we can have points and counterpoints about. Like,
yeah, this is legitimate news that I wish I had a little bit more info on. But I mean, we're going to see how other governments decide to follow suit with Belgium. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And
I'm looking forward to it. I would love to see how that translates into other systems of government.
And we'll find out. Over the next 2 to 3 years, it'll all kind of pan out. I wish I had some. Oh, you know what? Here's the deal, because we're extending the show a little bit longer.
What do you got?
Well, let's leave on a good note.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys are aware of. So, Alienware, the PC company.
Yeah.
They created the ultimate hotel gamer suite in Panama City Beach, Florida. It is at a Hilton that you can rent this room, and it comes fully equipped with an Oculus Rift, full on gaming PC, the giant television. Like, this is the themed hotel. This is the hotel room of my dreams. As a man that travels the country for corporate AV stuff, and I spend a lot of times in hotels, if I ever if I pulled my bag into this room, I guarantee I would not make my show call. I wouldn't work. It would fire, because I would just spend the week there and then never show up.
Do you want to roll the video?
Happen. Let's roll the video.
Let's roll the video. All right. So that's pretty cool. He can't believe how cool. Look at him. He's
be still my heart. Be still my heart. The whiskey went down the wrong hole. It was awkward. Oh, it burns. It burns, but it burns so good. It burns so good.
It's so good. All right.
I'm super stoked for that hotel. It's like the first real themed I don't say first real themed hotel, but in the world of gaming, like it's the first real themed hotel room, like like in a Hilton or a big chain. So, maybe
That's cool.
hopefully it generates money.
That's legit.
From what I understand, I think it's $379 a night, which it's a little bit on the pricey side.
Yeah.
But considering what they give you in that room as well, I don't feel like that's unreasonable.
Yeah, plus it's a Hilton. They're always kind of expensive, so.
Yeah. All right. So,
Well, that's a pretty damn good high note.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a little bit more exciting than the other stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to bring to the table before we get out of here tonight?
Nothing game or like news related or anything like that. I think podcast related are pretty much good here.
You're just trying to end the stream so you can play some more Stardew Valley multiplayer.
You caught me. You caught me. I want to play Stardew Valley multiplayer, and you're joining too.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, all right.
I gotta change out of the dragon onesie because
why not make that your permanent life outfit, right?
Because right now I'm sweating up a storm.
Yeah, really he's drowning in it.
Like I just want to take a cold shower right now just to cool down.
Oh, jeez.
But
all right, fair enough.
But
yeah. Find us on the internet. Thanks for being here. I am Average Goatee, also called Chris. This is down there. That's Stunt Mustard, also called Ian. We both stream on Twitch sometimes. This week I'll probably be playing all kinds of Stardew Valley multiplayer. So I might have open rooms on the farm. Who knows what that could mean? So thanks for hanging around.
Yeah. Follow us on the Instagram, on the Twitter, down below at 2dudes1up. Follow us on the Discord.
Yep, Discord link is down below.
Follow us on YouTube at 2dudes1up. YouTube.com/2dudes1up.
All the places on the internet.
Let us know like what you guys want to see. Give us topic. What do you want us to talk about? We'll talk about it. Just let us know.
What if they ask us to talk about the impact of the socioeconomic status of Activision in 2003 as compared to I am running out of things to make up.
Here's the deal. I can talk about Activision all day.
I know, me too. They made so many good games. The Tony Hawk series. We got to get out of here. Thank you for hanging out, guys. Have an excellent night. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, happy gaming, everybody.